Live on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Bo and the Great Z. How you living, buddy? Now you're up.
There we go, baby. I'm good, man. It's nice to be back in the mix with you here.
Back here
Sad.
local. Back here local.
Yeah, I was hoping our wall would be gone. Sad. Not.
What's our ETA on the wall being gone? Do we have any? What's Gibby got going there? What's that food? That's a noodle? What is that?
Of an Asian stir fry. Maybe
Yeah, a little stir fry on a Friday.
A little stir fry on a Friday. I like it. Gibby, do you have any sort of details on when this wall's coming down?
About the time we're forced to leave the building for a month.
It's going to all coincide.
Or a month and a half.
Are we just going to, is the next level just going to take this time slot for 2 months?
I have no idea what's happening. Like today, it's one thing. Tomorrow, it could be another.
It's all in play?
I mean, maybe we'll broadcast from our car. Maybe I'll just get an RV. We'll set it up in the parking lot.
I know a guy.
Same.
I got to tell you, I hate to do this to start the show, but
Oh, no. I even see the melancholy in your face.
yeah, it is sad. Two things have happened this week that have made me sad.
Let me get my pen.
Thing number one, we're not going to make it to 45,000 followers.
Yep.
Gibbe is going to have a triumph there. And that
Not like
is
doing a tap dance on that, by the way.
I just think it's a new era of Twitter.
it's hard.
You're just not gaining the type like you used to. You used to say, hey, just do this, and people would just do it.
Yeah.
And like 10,000.
And we were playing such an ultimate giveaway.
Well, I
I
would also
understand,
say,
but it's still like a lot of the people who probably follow you probably follow that account.
we've been a little busy this week too. There hasn't been a
Have
lot.
The
not
time?
like
Are
we
you
can focus
suggesting
on
the
that.
timing wasn't ideal
great.
for a Twitter follower launch?
No,
Push?
I mean, I don't. We put out some really good content this week, but
Oh, my God. We put out great content this
Copious.
week. And then the other thing I was going to say is I got to tip my cap to Gibbe as a huge P, which
Two
is
Gibby wins to
two
start the
Gibbe
show?
wins to start the show on a Friday. I mean, where do we go from here?
All downhill.
Is this Pete Gibbe?
I hope not.
Yeah, apparently he
I mean, our
reportedly.
annual review's coming up. Can I use this soundbite in that?
Yeah, he tore up Indy. He performed at a high level. I
More
mean,
ways than
our
one.
guest list this week was
I'm going to say
elite.
he did a good job. But the other thing I would say is our location
Was the best.
was the
it's
best
ever been.
It would be.
You're welcome.
You remember on in Succession, Boar on the Floor,
Yeah,
when they were hunting the boar. Remember how that was kind of set up for success for them.
it was quite set up for success.
I think that's us. That
Well,
we
yeah.
were essentially set up. You know, the little boars were running right underneath us.
It would be
wasn't
like
much
if-
of a hunt. Wasn't
if
much to it.
we were in the back
wasn't
of a
a worthy
truck.
adversary.
If we were in the back of a truck in a closed-in area where little javelinas were forced
Right.
to run around
Yeah.
and had
and just went.
and didn't have bulletproof vests on. It was sad.
It's not going to go well for the javelinas in that.
But that's
scenario.
how we were. I mean, we didn't have to go. We did one interview not at our table, and we did, I think, 15 this week with,
Yeah.
like, some serious people.
Some heavy hitters.
Yeah. Luminaries.
Still more to come.
More to come on that front. Yeah.
So, big.
Big P.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Been a week. Good job by all.
Yeah.
We got through it. Highly successful.
What do you
We'll
guys
see you
make
in Indy
of
next year.
What do you make of
We will see him
the
next
way?
week.
What do you make of the because it does feel like there's two separate combines almost to me.
Yeah.
The first 2 days when we were there was here's all the general managers and coaches, and those of us that are in teams and on beats have an interest in that.
Yep.
And then yesterday and today and through the weekend, it's now here's all the draft picks.
Yep. Totally.
It really is two separate combines entirely.
What I like about it is that we are there. It really has become your spot on. Take a bow.
Hey, you're welcome.
Great week for you, too. Yeah. It has become kind of an NFL summit. There's an NFL summit portion of the
doubt.
combine where you get everything that's actually going on in the league, free agency, trade rumors,
Yeah.
all of that. Coaches, GMs, state of their teams. So you get basically a state of the NFL through all 32 teams. You hear all the rumors. That's all everybody's talking about. And it really doesn't. It switches really kind of yesterday, to your point, to now it's all about the prospects. But I love that we're there for the NFL portion of it because that's what
Agreed entirely.
matters to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. What's happening now is it's so totally different operation. If you're
Maybe
picking at the
5%,
top,
bro.
yeah, maybe. If you're picking at the top of the draft, or you're going to have your kind of pick of guys in the top 10 picks, 12 picks, or whatever. Even the year that we had Jed, when we drafted Jed, and there were all those tackles that were kind of all in the mix. Like, there's value in that then. But otherwise, like, I was looking at some of the stuff coming out today. A lot of the stuff was being aggregated from, like, college writers.
Right.
Whether it's Buckeye writers or Bama writers. Like, I was seeing a lot of that stuff, more so even than NFL writers.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's flipped as the week went along.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think for our show and our purposes, and especially with the state of with the Cleveland Browns not having a pick till 42,
sure,
it was great to be in the mix of like that period before it fully switched.
No doubt, it's the most valuable time for sure for us to be there. Was that? I mean, that's the time to be there. That's that's.
And I kind of love the way the schedule shifted in that regard.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're blowing it a little bit by leaking the stuff that people want to see visually into the weekend. So quarterbacks are throwing tomorrow over there. I do kind of wonder if that would be better served on a Thursday night or a Wednesday night. Because
that's a first Friday.
That's right. Because it does feel like this thing's going to get lost a little bit on the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we're March.
Well, certainly in this town, right? We don't need a quarterback.
I think in a lot of towns it will be, because I think there's the college basketball. It's March. March Madness is coming. You got that. The NBA stuff is happening. You know, if you're in a big pro city, the NHL trade deadline is now. If you have an NHL team, that's today in a couple hours. So all of those things are kind of happening now. And this, like, to have this happen in the middle of the day, it just feels like they're going to have the primetime windows. Maybe push, if you could get this whole thing done Monday through Friday and have the quarterbacks throw, everyone run, have that happen on a Thursday night. Like, have quarterbacks do it Thursday night. To me, that feels like a home run.
Yeah.
I'm with that. So I don't know. We'll see. It was. I always kid that. I mean, really, the only thing I don't like about the combine is the drive.
I found
that's
the drive
really
home to be. If the drive there was as easy for me as the drive home, it would have been a delight. The fact that we drove through the rain and unbelievable wind added significant time to that journey and made it stressful. Driving home for me yesterday was a delight. I had no truck problems. I had no.
Well, you left middle of the day though.
It was perfect.
Right. So you got through Columbus without traffic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It was great.
I spent some time down there yesterday, and we lived there for a long time from 07 to 15, and what has happened in that city from a boomtown standpoint. But even in the downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, there are now you can't count the cranes. It is all of those neighborhoods right around, the arenas, lower.com, Nationwide, and then, all the way up to really Ohio State, that whole corridor there. It's just one high-rise condo after another. It's one – I just look – it defies logic that there's enough people that can afford all this living. It's unbelievable to me what has happened. It's stunning. It's totally unrecognizable. What they did – what HSN did with that soccer-specific down there – just unbelievable. Like, I know that all the stadium stuff is being swirling here in the last week. Like, do the football equivalent of that, you win, because that thing's awesome. It's awesome. And I recommend you going down there. I don't know how many people go down to go watch a soccer game, but you should, because it's really, really cool. It's really cool what they did. So it was good. I was having the conversation with my wife yesterday. I said, she's like, well, how was it? And, like, the boys have these misconceptions. They're like, well, we want to go. And I'm like, well, there isn't really fan stuff.
No.
It really is.
In fact, they got rid of that.
I didn't see any of it.
At least in our area.
I didn't see any of it. There used to be some, like, there was, like, that one street that they'd have some fan stuff on. There wasn't even, like, a gift shop that I saw.
And that used to be, though, also in our area.
Oh, for sure.
Was a whole fan experience.
We
didn't have to do, and we didn't have to do.
No, there's none of that.
Team shops at the stadium now. Okay. There is stuff for fans, but.
Is it all at the stadium?
Everything's at the stadium. They move the bench press. They move the workouts.
So I came away, like, with the two things I told her. I said, honestly, it's really like an NFL snow globe. That if you're in this globe, it's or kind of like the Truman Show. Like, you run into walls. Like, there's like a bubble around downtown Indy, and the only people there are people either who cover, work for, or are in fact employed by NFL and NFL teams.
Yeah.
That's it. And nobody penetrates it. I didn't even see any. There was a few people, like 15 people looking for autographs. Like, that's it. Like, very little of that. It was almost like all of downtown was an NFL snow.
It was
globe.
100% NFL.
Yeah,
100%.
It's a wild thing, and
everybody's left alone. To your point, yeah, there aren't people
No
hounding people in the
comes
bars.
up.
Nobody's right.
Nobody bugs Jason Kelsey having a meal at Harry Nizzy's. Nothing.
No.
Like it's really wild in that sense. And then I also just came away with the fact that I don't understand how someone isn't dead on a bird every day.
I had some great birding, man.
Of course you did.
I
you did.
I feel like I've really gotten good at it. I had a off the sidewalk jump that was epic. At about 15, so I came down. I was going back, and you can't be on the sidewalks. Well,
they'll fine you if you are. I noticed that on my bill once because I spent some time on the sidewalk, and I was upcharged for my sidewalk experience.
How would they
Really?
know you were on the sidewalk?
They track it.
Really?
Yeah.
They sidewalk upcharged
Yeah,
you?
it was like $3 for being on the sidewalk. Yeah.
Oh my! So I was only on.
But you tell me what's better, me on a sidewalk or me going up traffic?
Well, so I was going up traffic, so I had to hop onto the sidewalk for a second, but then had to hop right back off of it because I didn't want to be on the sidewalk. And I came and I kind of hit the little ramp, and I had I think I got like 6 inches.
Yeah.
It's great.
I think
I felt like I was living.
yeah, it's the best. I mean,
think
the hair's flowing.
Yeehaw!
Yeah. I feel like if you're going to be a city that has birds, then you need to, or limes or whatever the hell.
You need a lane.
You need a lane. You got to have a bike lane.
Gotta have a lane.
You got to have a 6 feet wide. This is where you can be because otherwise, I just don't understand it.
It's the Wild West, brother.
You said it, man. You said it. I was also, thanks to you, I've eaten at Elmo's or Harry and Izzy's 20 times. I've never ever paid attention to their cocktail list, so I didn't know that they had their own like old fashioned.
It's fun.
Yeah, I had no clue that it was that until
yeah.
you ordered it, and I was like, you know how I feel about mixers. I don't put any
Totally.
of that stuff in anything. But when in Rome, and so I had it, and it was good. The whiskey on its own was very good.
Totally. And they sell that as well as they sell their cocktail sauce. No, we had a great time. I just love things that I look forward to so much, or obviously when we all get to spend some time together, but that chance to get to sit down with Greg Cosell, and I think we did, what was it, Gibbe, 33?
33 minutes.
Just
33 minutes with Greg Cosell.
And we could have talked for forever.
Well, and it's a sign of the mutual respect that he has for you guys that he gives you 30 minutes because he's not doing that for everybody.
No way.
And
we were
that's
just
really cool.
chilling.
And I know that's something we do every year. I always look forward to it. I wish I could have been a part of it, but it didn't work out that way. But anytime there's a handful of people that when I see him, I'm like, oh, I love talking.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
So he and I were talking after, and he made me an offer that I will certainly not refuse, which is he invited me to come spend a couple days with him at NFL Films and just watch ball. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
I will do that.
I told him I saw him yesterday on my way. I said, I'm taking you up on that. Like, he goes, I want you to. I'm like,
yeah.
Done. That'll be awesome.
Is that in Secaucus?
Yeah, I think so. It's Jersey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
MLB
maybe a little
Network is for
Baltus
sure.
roll.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know if he chases the
Pine
small ball.
Valley. Maybe get yourself on a little Pine Valley or a little Baltus roll.
I feel like Pine Valley might be tough.
Probably.
Yeah.
That
I
or
do know
Cypress.
some people.
I actually know people who have played Pine Valley. I don't know anybody who's played Cypress. Augusta, plenty.
I bet we do.
Well, we might, but yeah. Well, I guess yeah. Maybe I don't know. Do they do that when
We'll
they?
ask. I bet, but I bet he's. I mean,
Well, he could.
yeah.
But I think that's the most exclusive is Cypress. I think
Yeah.
that's the one where you just no. All the best. We're
Thanks.
good.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good on that front. I wanted to run something by you guys that has nothing to do with anything. So one of the things that I enjoy doing when, especially on a long road trip, is I enjoy the Ringer feed, the rewatchables. Okay, so you guys have seen the film Catch Me If You Can, right?
Yes.
Not a long time.
Yeah, but you're familiar.
Yeah.
Hanks, DiCaprio,
Yeah, DiCaprio, right?
con man,
Yeah.
is a lawyer, is a doctor, is a flight guy, all this stuff, right?
Pretty
Yeah.
incredible run.
Incredible run, right? It's one of my most rewatchable movies of probably the last 20 years.
Really?
If it's on, it's just fun, and I like seeing DiCaprio have all the charisma in the world. So if it's on, I'll pop in, I'll watch for an hour. I haven't probably watched it start to finish since I watched it the first time.
Okay.
But it had a heck of a run where it was on cable, it was on
Okay.
HBO, whatever, through the years.
I'm writing it down.
So really fun movie. Probably that, and oddly enough, Ford versus Ferrari are two. If they're on, I'm in. I'll watch for an hour. I'll check them out.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's awesome.
It's great.
It's great.
It is great.
It's great.
So, girl, you had a. It's
Cri-
great. But
Christian Bale, right?
Yeah,
There's just something about him that sometimes I'm just like
I think it's fair.
I'm
I mean,
not a
get
fan
it.
of.
And if you look at the guy who he's portraying,
Yeah.
it's a doppelganger.
He looks
like
just
he
like
looks
him.
just like the guy
Yeah.
he's portraying. Yeah. So back to Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
So Rewatchables did the feed on Catch Me If You Can as the one for this week. So that dropped right as I was leaving Indy.
Perfect.
Perfect. I mean, it's 2 hours. Perfect. All the way to Columbus. I'm good. So I'm listening to it, and at one point at the end they go, and of course none of this actually happened. And I went, what? So apparently, do you remember the premise of this? I know you do. So this Frank Abagnale Jr. guy wrote a book in 1980 that he did all these things. He was a con man, ran away at 16, was a Pan Am flight, was the most notorious bank check fraud guy ever. $2.3 million in
And it was
checks
presented
that
as
he
though
wrote.
it was real.
Well, he presented it as real. He
Yeah.
wrote a
Yeah,
book.
He went and worked for the FBI.
He went and worked for the FBI. He made millions off of it. It's all nonsense. And apparently this all came out in 2020. This guy was trying to write a book about the actual victims of his fraud, and none of it was true. Was not a lawyer, did not pass the bar exam in Louisiana, did not work in that hospital in Atlanta that he acts like
The
he worked
movie
in.
even says based on a
Well,
true
and I know
story.
based on gives you some leeway, but even at the end, they did not work for the FBI. Did none of it. It's all nonsense.
How'd that not come out when the movie came out?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe it was everyone just had so much fun with it that they just let it be and let it live. I have no idea. But this guy basically uncovered it all in 2020. So it was on last night, oddly, on HBO. And it, like I said, it's one that I've really enjoyed. And I was watching for like 10 minutes, and it totally changed the way I viewed it. And the movie on its own stands up, whether it's true or false. It doesn't make any difference. It's still a great movie. But they made such a big deal about the fact that this was all real. In fact, the actual guy has a cameo in the movie, that it totally changed my view of it. And I don't know how I missed knowing
How
this.
does that not get?
It came out in 2020.
But how does that not get verified or unverified before they even go to production?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't
That's
think
what
they
I just said.
cared. I think it
That's
was
what
a
I said.
great movie.
Great script.
It was a great. They took the book. It's a great script.
So
it's a great movie.
separate guy wanted to write a book
different book
on the victims
on
of
the victims,
him.
and none of it. Like if you go on the Wikipedia, it's 6 paragraphs. Like I literally had to stop, sort of, and just read how it was all nonsense.
Wow.
Wild.
That is wild. I enjoyed on the way home, Pardon My Take. By the way, ran into both Big Cat and PMT at Prime on.
Did you ask if you could do a serious interview with them?
I did not.
Non
but
tongue in
we
cheek,
talked
I think,
about
is the best way to interview those guys.
well, you got it right. Play it straight.
Yeah,
That's the electric interview.
that's it. Pure electricity.
We were talking, and he's a big Wisconsin guy. I was like,
Yeah.
you got to come in for the
Hoff.
Hoff. I mean, he's a Wisconsin legend.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think they're going to come in.
Has he been on? Has Hoff been on? Pardon my take.
I don't know, but I feel like he should be.
Yeah.
So the one I listened to was they had they did a review of Full Swing, which I'm really enjoying on Netflix, which is the golf kind of documentary where they follow. And one of the guys they follow on that's Joel Damon, who's probably like 90th in the world.
Okay.
So they had his interview. He was great. Like I will root for this guy forever.
What did you make of the PGA people getting rid of the cut?
I saw all these rule changes. I don't like any of it.
I can't believe they're getting rid of the cut. One of the things that all those guys complained about Liv was that there's no cut,
Yeah.
and now they're getting rid of the cut.
And they're incentivizing them playing certain. I don't know. I don't like it.
Sounds like desperation.
Here's the thing. I don't think a lot of these guys who miss the cut want to keep playing.
Oh no.
If you're like 20, if you're 20 over, hey, you got
Get
2
me
more
outta
days
here.
to go, kids.
Like, get me out of here. I think you're going to get a lot of withdrawals. I don't know. I didn't even fully read all these new rules. They didn't even ask him about the new rules. But he was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed their interview with him.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, we'll see what's going on with all that. All right, we're loaded up.
Loaded.
We got a mailbag day.
Yes.
Get your question. I see a lot is already in. There's a ton
Yeah.
of it already in.
We got mailbag.
Someone's trying to compete with Bobby.
I see that.
We
have
got-
Chris Rose who's going to join the program.
Brugler.
Bruggs is coming up next.
Yeah.
There you go. You're off and running on a Friday edition. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Live from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis, this Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Welcome back to the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. It's Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. It's coming soon to Ohio, and it's one of our annual traditions to sit down with the great Dane Brugler of The Athletic, their draft expert, the author of The Beast, the authority on pre-draft. I think it's the number one guide in the world. It's my draft Bible. I love it so much. And Dane, we're going to keep it. We're going to do some little low. We're going to do some quiet talking today because I know your voice is. Again, everybody wants to hear what you have to say.
It's been a week. But we haven't started with the on-field drills yet, so we still got a long way to go. But this is always such a productive week to fill in the gaps, right? You know, a lot of the work has been done, the film has been watched, but here at the Combine is where fill in some of those gaps where maybe you're missing something with the person, get those through the interviews, or maybe the workouts kind of reveal something. So the Combine remains a very critical piece of this process.
All right. You are very good at, obviously, what you do, but not only that, what makes it even more fun on Browns Daily is you kind of see through a similar lens to the Cleveland Browns. You had Greg Newsome going to the Browns 2 years ago, pretty much the whole process. So this year, we don't have that first-round pick. We got Deshaun Watson, so our draft starts at number 42. Last year, the Browns went out of the second round, but still got, I think, a very productive player in MJ Emerson when they traded back with their first pick. But let's focus on 42 here. Let's talk wide receivers first. Okay. I'm guessing it might end up on the edge, on the defensive side, defensive line. But let's look at receivers. We know there's a speed need for this football team. Let's talk 42, and then if it's maybe not, if it's a later day 2, early day 3 guy that has some of maybe the traits Anthony Schwartz had, but maybe perhaps is a little better tracking the ball down the field. But let's start at 42. Who would be kind of a dream scenario for you for the Browns there?
One of my favorite players in this draft is Tyler Scott.
Okay, this guy is like blowing up, I feel like.
Scott. And I have a tweet back in January that said, just wait till more eyes get on Tyler Scott. He's gonna, because he's fun. I mean, it's speed. You watch his film, and I don't know how you don't get Tyler Lockett vibes. That's what he looks like. He's a little smaller, so you're sacrificing the size, but he's a 3-level threat. The speed is outstanding. Big time track guy. He's gonna test outstanding here. Wide receivers are Saturday, I believe. So don't miss his workout Saturday. It'll be one of the better 40 times here. Former, he's a local kid, Akron, Norton High School. He was a running back. They kind of ran an option offense there. So transitioning to wide receiver at Cincinnati, you would never be able to guess that. Yeah, he's a third-year junior, just pretty new to the position with the way he plays. Catches the ball pretty cleanly. I mean, he'll have some drops, but if the ball's above his head, he'll go get it. But it's really the speed aspect. That's what he brings, and that's what it's going to be. That's his his weapon. If he's a superhero, that's what he does. So I really believe. I feel like every year someone gets compared to Tyler Lockett. Tyler Scott, I think, really has that type of ability.
How would you compare or contrast him with Hyatt from Tennessee?
I think Hyatt is Hyatt's above average in 2 areas: speed, ball skills. Both those he's above average. He can go down the field, win deep, and he's very good tracking and finishing. Scott, I think he's not as big, but I think he gives you a little bit more as an underneath threat. He can be a catch and go. You can use him on crossers, digs. Where Hyatt's, I think, a little more polished vertically. Scott has that in his bag, but I also think he's a little more well-rounded if you want someone short, intermediate, and deep.
Do you feel like either of them realistically could be there at 42?
Scott's interesting because for the longest time I feel like I'm shouting into an echo chamber and this guy's good, and I feel like it's going to catch up. So we'll see where we are on draft day. I know on my top 100 he was right around 42. Okay. So, I think right around that, because again, he is a smaller guy. You're sacrificing size, and that's not every team's going to be looking for that size of a receiver. But I think if you're looking for ability and a guy who's ascending, Tyler Scott's the guy.
All right, I like that. Let's go maybe round 3, round 4, and so now you're sacrificing overall polish, obviously, but somebody can still have a pretty elite trait at that spot and be a space creator, take a top off of defense. Anybody kind of in that range for you?
Trey Palmer, the Nebraska receiver. I think he's right in that range, 3rd round, 4th round. A former LSU player. He was a big-time track guy in high school. Won 200 meters all 4 years in high school. So you know he has the speed. We should see it here this week. Transfers to Nebraska for his senior year, and he was one of the best receivers in the Big Ten this year, really because of that speed. He had the most catches of at least 40 yards after Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt led the nation, but after Hyatt, Palmer was right there. And so he has that ability to stretch out the field. And just the threat of his speed affects the defense.
Right. That's
so, third round, fourth round, I think he's going to be somewhere in that range as long as he tests how we expect he's going to test.
All right, let's go to the defensive line because obviously that's a big area of need. You got to find that starter opposite Miles. We need some defensive tackles as well. And really, 3 starting spots are kind of unaccounted for. Perrion showed, I thought, great flashes last year.
Right.
But we need to see that more consistent and, make sure that we're all rowing in the same direction there. Edge, everybody says deep, 42. Probably a chance to get a pretty darn good player, right?
It'll be interesting who falls that far, because there's such a group of these guys in that late 1, early 2 range. How many get pushed, into that 40 to 50 range? I really like B.J. Ojulari from LSU. We saw his brother Aziz 2 years ago get pushed a little bit. He fell to the Giants in the second round. I think that turned out to be great value. Could the same thing happen with B.J. Ojulari, who maybe not the biggest with what some teams look for, but he knows how to rush. And you want a guy with bend, he has that. So I think Ojulari would be a natural fit. The Kansas State rusher, Felix, last name's hard to say, but he's another player who it just knows how to rush. He understands how to set up blockers throughout the course of a game. First quarter through fourth quarter, very cerebral. He understands the dance. He knows what he's doing out there. So I think he could be in that mix as well. It's a group where you might be surprised who's still available for you, even though it's a premium position. And those guys are going to go. We're going to see, obviously Willie Anderson's going to go early.
Sure.
Lucas Van Ness is going to go very early especially after he works out here. Nolan Smith is really interesting coming off the injury. Where does he fall in all this? He's another really good player. So edge position is, I think, you feel good about who might be there for you at 42.
Don't you have like 8 in the top 50,
Yeah,
something like that?
Right. There's going to be a lot of names that you're kind of picking through and saying, okay, well, if he's there, if he makes it, this is someone we need to think seriously about taking.
Now, I would be personally surprised. I wouldn't rule it out, but if the Browns took a defensive tackle at 42, just because they would want somebody who could rush the passer with that premium of an asset, and if they can rush the passer from the inside, they're not going to be there at 42. So are there some guys, early day 3, which has kind of been the MO, or late day 2, round 3 with Elliott, 4 Togiai, 4 Perrion, but I'm talking size. We need to get bigger in the interior, even if it's a 2-down player, somebody who can go in there and eat up 2 guys and let the lighter linebackers, Jeremiah Wusu-Kormoa, run free. Is there anybody that fits kind of that bill in this draft?
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where Keanu Benton ends up, the Wisconsin nose tackle. Could he go second round? I think it's possible, but I think it's more likely maybe he goes third round. And if he's there for the Browns in the third round, I love that fit because I do think he brings some pass rush potential. In that Nebraska defense, 3-man front, he's playing the nose.
He wasn't asked to.
Right, exactly. But, you at the Senior Bowl one-on-ones, you saw some of that pass rush potential. And he's a guy that has a wrestling in his background. He understands leverage. He understands quickness to beat gaps. So I think Keanu Benton's one of those guys that's got untapped potential. It might not go in the top, 60 picks. But if you were to fall in that third round, I think the Browns would be very interested.
Okay, I like that one. That's a union I've heard a little bit of scuttlebutt about as you make the rounds here in the great Indianapolis. So
the interesting thing, too, in the second round, if Mozzie Smith makes it to them, how tempted will they be to take a Mozzie Smith who had a grand total of, I think, a half sack his entire career at Michigan? But the value he gives you as a true nose who can take on doubles and just really free up the rest of the defense, I 100% agree with you about, they want more of a player that's going to impact the backfield. But the value there of a really good nose tackle like Mozzie Smith, that'll be interesting if he makes it to 42.
How would you compare him to, I'm trying to think of the name, Travis Jones maybe out of UConn last year?
Ravens got him in the third round.
But at the time there was a lot of talk that he might be Late
he had
first, second.
He had a great Senior Bowl, and then we started talking. These guys don't fall too far, and the Ravens ended up getting great value.
That's what we would like in the third round there.
Right. I think that's if you're the Browns, that's what you're hoping for this year.
Any under the radar, maybe we'll call it a center field free safety out there.
A guy that I'm really interested in, especially for this team, Jatavius Martin for Illinois, who did everything for the Illinois secondary. Devin Witherspoon's a really good player. He's probably going to be a first-round pick for Illinois. Sidney Brown, the other safety, he gets talked about. He'll be somewhere in the top 5 rounds. But Jatavius Martin really came on this year. Quan Martin, goes by Quan as his first name. You want to play in a nickel, he can do that. You want to play more of a post, he can do that. You want to play more like that center field range, he has the range to do it. So we saw Kirby Joseph from Illinois, that Illinois secondary last year, kind of come on and had a pretty good rookie year for the Lions. I don't know that Quan Martin's I'm expecting quite that type of impact from him, but I think he can come in and play meaningful snaps as a rookie, especially in that nickel role, but also someone that can compete for safety snaps.
All right. He is the best, Dane Brugler. I mean, a literal walking human encyclopedia. It's unbelievable. Every year, you blow me away. It's awesome. Thanks for your time. Rest that voice up, and looking forward to all your coverage and talking with you more, obviously, we get closer to this draft.
Can't wait, man. Thanks.
All right. The great Dane Brugler joining us here. A parade of luminaries today, live from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cheering to Cleveland Browns to help your favorite four-legged companion. Barking Backers presented by Milk-Bone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. As we go around the NFL, a lot of it having to do with the combine. Some of these defensive tackles are absolutely crushing it. The Kansas kid with a 4.67 40, the fastest 40-yard dash from a defensive tackle since 2003. On that.
Wow.
That's fast. Nolan Smith.
What about your boy? Here you go.
And Nolan Smith out of Georgia runs a 4.39, second fastest time for a defensive lineman since 2003.
4.39.
That's crazy at the end.
And he thought they timed him unofficially in the 4.4s, and he was all pissed off talking to Stacey Dales. He's like, I was slow. We're like, wait a second, my friend.
It's okay. I mean, I remember talking to Dr. Voos about this. We talked to anybody who's in that medical profession about it. Like, it's stunning what the human body can do, but it's also finite what tendons can do.
Right. You can grow your muscles. You can grow all these. But
all
you
the
can't,
other things.
And that's why they break. That's why they snap.
Yeah. I don't know that the human body at that size needs to be going that fast.
The one thing that I would wonder about just is how his ankles are. So, like, what does his bend look like? Because typically when you're able to go that fast in a straight line, you have very, very stiff ankles. Yeah. And that's why even, they talk about that even with a lot of some of these receivers, like even our guy, like with Schwartz, the guys who are track guys, it's something about that is the advantage for running so fast in a straight line is ankle stiffness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do
I
anything.
assign to all of it. Yeah.
I don't run fast in any direction except late at night.
Unless you're chasing down the
Unless
Gibbe.
I'm chasing down Gibbe.
I
was flying. Gibbe, what did it sound like? Did you feel like somebody was coming at a great speed? I felt like I was flying. I really did.
Well, you might have felt like it. It sounded like someone was just thud, 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 thud.
No,
like it was not light.
ridiculous.
You were not light on your feet at all.
You have a happy gallop.
Yeah, when I get after it.
There's a big smile. There's a lot. It's a good time.
With my Chippewa heritage, I do have the ability, especially in a moccasin, to move silently.
To really move silently?
Yeah.
Heels
Except
first,
that
big key
night,
there.
you did not. I had you from about 50 yards out.
Yeah, but how quickly did I close that 50? That's what I'm talking about.
You really have to
felt
be
like
a
a
toe
while.
runner if you're going to be quiet while you sprint. You have to be on the balls of your feet.
I feel like I was.
Yeah.
I think he's exaggerating because he said 50 yards. He turned around when I was like about
I
to hit
heard
it.
you. I'm like, here comes Z.
You do it.
I was. I mean, especially in the cream starter.
Yeah. That's a head turner. I'll tell you, little note for the kids, the people in charge of our gear and our uniforms and such. We wore the hoodies, the Crim hoodies. We wore those on Tuesday, and Pete Carroll stopped in his track, literally stopped, and said, those are some nice hoodies, to his buddy who was with him. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks run something like that out next year. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they ran something like that out, because this is an NFL coach who can have everything, who was stopped in his tracks by hoodies. And the homage cream starter jacket is a head turner.
It is.
Those two
100%.
things, man, and both are really exclusive, which I think helps us.
Here
You
you
can't
go.
get them.
I'm gonna come in here and show you.
Yeah.
So obviously, I am a Cardinal fan.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis baseball.
Yeah. The baseball team. Well, they got about as good a logo as you're going to find.
Cream. Out to that.
Look at that. See?
Can I wet my beak on that?
I mean, that's so sharp.
Yeah, it's great.
Cream.
Yeah, it's
Cream.
beautiful.
Listen, Wu-Tang
beautiful.
Clan, they had it.
Yeah.
You haven't heard a lot of songs called like White.
No.
Cream.
Cream.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream,
Yeah.
get the money.
Yeah.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Dollar bills, y'all. Yeah, cream if you can use it. I think there's a hell of a shot with our scheme especially.
Yeah, I'd love it.
I'd love it. I think it's very good.
It also evokes for me, cream I felt like was really prevalent in old-timey baseball jerseys.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. And now it could have just been white that was laundered a lot and made to look off-white.
Sure.
Could be. I don't know. But the colors really pop on it.
Yeah.
And the brown and orange really pops
The
on it.
Rams tried to do that with their bone one,
bone
and
nonsense.
they missed.
Yeah, they made it too sandy.
Too white, too gray. Well, it's supposed to be
Yeah, it was supposed
evocative of the beaches of Los Angeles.
Even though it was a bone of the horn of the ram or whatever
but
the
that's
shtick was.
what it was supposed to be evocative
Yeah,
of.
but it's not.
Good word, evocative.
They need to use it is. They really need to go with like more of a Panhandle, Florida beach color. That's the cream is what you're looking for. A lot of people think that's white sand. It's really kind of cream.
It really is.
It's kind of what you're
Great
looking
Cole
for.
enjoys those
What's
beaches.
he up to? Is he still down there living his best life?
Of course.
Yeah.
Don't
I love
ever
it down
leave.
there.
Stay down there.
I just wonder, like, on a day-to-day, would you ever, like, it's real sleepy. You know what I mean?
Like, does it
It's
get?
all right. We're building an ark
get
up here
boring.
this afternoon. Stay down there.
Is it raining again? It's going to rain again?
Yeah.
Have you looked? Like
No,
an inch and a half, 2 inches
no.
of rain today.
Where's it going to go?
Like heavy rain coming.
I know. Not good. Hey, by the way, I know this is.
We
Are
got-
you
yeah.
going to start getting this around the NFL landscape stuff?
I mean, we've already done half of it.
I know, but I'm going to talk about like the more. We were talking. You did the prospect stuff.
I have not. We haven't played the sound bites yet.
I'm not even caring about that. I think we should talk for a second about the Ravens.
Do you want to do that first and then play the sound
Yeah.
bites? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was a lot going on. So let's first play the sound bite. This is DaCosta on the team's wide receiver woes during his availability on Wednesday, Eric DaCosta.
I would say a lot of people would say the same thing. It's a challenging position to evaluate in different ways. I don't have if I had an answer, that means I would probably have some better receivers, I guess. We're going to keep swinging, you know. There have been some guys that, you know, have been successful players for us that were draft picks. We've never really hit on that all-pro type of guy, which is disappointing, I would say. But it's not for lack of effort. And hopefully at one of these points we'll hit the ball out of the park.
Everything's fine except for we'd probably have some better receivers. Other than that,
Not-
it's all fine. It's all fine up until that. So I hadn't heard it. I'd read it.
Yes.
But I had not heard that specific part about it because all I had seen was the first part and then the last part where he says we'd probably have some all pro receivers or whatever. So then Rashad Bateman responded on Twitter that has now since been erased. It's gone now.
Yes, gone.
But it was up long enough that everybody got to see it. How about you play to your player's strength and stop pointing the finger at us and number 8? Discontent in Baltimore.
Good.
And then there is the NFLPA's team rankings. Have you seen these?
I did, yeah.
Did you
I
see
figured
the
we go
Ravens?
into detail on Monday. But
Yeah.
Let's
give
just
me a
do,
little cliff notes.
Just do that.
we'll just do the Ravens. Strength coaches. Ravens. Grade. Do you know the answer to this?
No, I don't. I haven't seen
Oh,
theirs. I've seen
okay.
ours. I've seen Cincinnati's. I haven't seen anybody else.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll rock through the Ravens.
All right.
Treatment of families, C plus 18th. Food service nutrition, B minus 13th. We struggled there.
We did.
Huh.
Weight room, C plus 22nd. Training room, C 21st. Training staff, B plus 22nd. Locker room, A 5th. Team travel, A 4th. Strength coaches, F minus, 32nd in the league. And then pretty much everybody who's played for the Ravens and is no longer with the Ravens in the last however many years
Yeah.
took to Twitter to say, I got injured this time because of the strength staff. I got injured this time because of the strength staff. I got injured that time because
Yeah,
of the
there
strength
were
staff.
numerous
They are
guys.
the
I'm like,
worst.
I don't recognize that name.
I don't trust them. They got me hurt. Carl Davis, who played for the Browns and then went to the Ravens and is still in the league, he said that he had 2 pec tears and one other shoulder because of their strength coaches. And it was basically at the point where like nobody wanted to even work out with them. I mean, F minus.
No, that's
37 league.
fireable.
Well, I mean, obviously
Clearly,
they're
they
gonna have to make a change.
they'll have to fire them all because, well, it's interesting. No, I did not see that with Baltimore. I didn't see an F on anyone. So I saw several of them were going around. I never saw an F. So that's the first F I've ever seen on those lists. But when you think about it, you think about how snake bit we were 2 years ago. They were worse, and they were worse last year.
Correct.
They can't keep anybody healthy.
No.
I mean, they're devastated. Every year they get devastated with injuries.
And it's not just a couple weeks. It's like
No, it's
8
season.
weeks, 12 weeks
Yeah.
season.
J.K. Dobbins has never played. Bateman's here. He's never played. He's always hurt. They're always hurt over there. Both corners, safeties.
Yep.
I mean, it's
The team, by the way, recently parted ways with head strength coach Steve Saunders, so we'll be interested to see if this area improves in his absence. 30 of the 32 teams in the NFL give their strength coaches fairly positive reviews. Baltimore is one of the 2 teams that fell well below the rest.
we were
great on our
We were
strength
great
coaches.
on that, right? Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot going on. A lot of discontent over there.
Yeah, we were A+ on our strength staff.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones reported he's seeking more than $45 million on his new deal. He might just get it. Alvin Kamara pleads not guilty yesterday to battery charges from February 2022 incident in Vegas. There's video of that, so that's going to be a tricky one, I think.
How can you pay Daniel Jones $45 million? I mean, unless you just franchise him for 1 year.
Well, I mean, I think we kind of want I don't know, but the short answer is I don't know. The longer answer is it does feel like the upper middle class quarterback is done.
He's gone.
It's gone. So, like, either you have one of these 10 or 12 guys who you think that are franchise guys go win a Super Bowl, you have someone who you feel like you just drafted who can become that, or you have nothing. I don't think, for example, I don't think that the Vikings, if this was right now and Cousins was coming out of the run he had in Washington, I don't think the Vikings would have paid him like they paid him, because he's not that. He's an upper middle class quarterback, right? So, like, those, and he's at the high end of it. Of the upper middle class quarterbacks. There's a lot that are really nice quarterbacks. I mean, Dalton is a great example of this. I said somebody compare C.J. Stroud to Andy Dalton, and they were doing it and everyone took it as like a big slight. I'm thinking to myself, like, if you draft a quarterback in the top 2 and he starts for you for 10 years and you win your division 3 times and you make a couple of Pro Bowls, that's not a bust.
No.
In any way. That's not Joe Burrow, but it's not a bust. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks
went to the
bust.
playoffs more than 3 times.
Oh, at least. Yeah, I think they won the division 3 times. He made 2 or 3 Pro Bowls during that time. So it was, I don't know, but I do think that those type of guys are kind of bordering on extinct. Like, teams don't want to be in that business anymore. So
no, and that's
Jones will
wonder,
be a tough one to figure out.
You know, where does he, what happens with him? You know, have we seen guys like, you know, our former quarterback and like Carson Wentz, are they done starting somewhere, or are they considered to be not mid-tier enough that we can start with them and not have to worry about it affecting our standing?
You said it. Those guys aren't upper middle class. Those guys are lower middle class, and those guys are, we're not going to win enough. These guys are perfect to take some snaps until we can draft our quarterback next year.
Yeah.
Like, you could see Baker starting in New Orleans. You could see Carson Wentz starting in Carolina if they can't figure it out. Like,
Frank
all of
Reich
that.
lined up.
Yeah, you could see those things happening. All right, let's hear from the 2 quarterbacks that talked today. Here was Bryce Young. He was, of course, all of the conversations about his size or lack thereof. Here's what he had to say.
Again, I've been this size, respectfully my whole life. I know who I am. I know what I can do, and for me, I think it's fair. Everyone can speculate and ask whatever questions are necessary, but I'm going to continue to control what I can control. Keep working my hardest to put myself in a good position, and I'm confident in myself. I know what I can do, and I'm just excited to get to that next level.
C.J. Stroud available today as well, the Ohio State quarterback, who's I feel like's had a really good week over there before he's done anything. He was asked this morning who he models his game after. Here's what he had to say.
Even one of the reasons I wore number 7 was because Michael Vick. He inspired me not only just to be athletic and use my athleticism, but as a black quarterback to stay in the pocket and throw the ball. And that's something that he was very underrated in. And then I looked up to Deshaun Watson as somebody I feel like I have a similar playing style to. And then Joe Burrow, being able to create, not being the fastest guy ever, being able to kind of extend plays, throw guys off of you, just be tough. And that's something that I feel like I'll do in this game.
This next one had Buckeye fans in a frenzy this morning. CJ on if he thought about returning to Ohio State for his 3rd year as a starter, his 4th year in school. Here's what he had to say.
I was honestly going to come back to school. It was really hard for me to leave a place like Ohio State where it takes time to get to where I was at, and it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of trust building, a lot of camaraderie off the field, and it's something you can't just throw in the trash right away. And I don't feel like I did that or come in the league. It was a smart decision for me, I feel, but it was really hard. And of course, like you said, not beating that team up north, not winning the national championship were 2 goals of mine, and of course, not winning the Heisman. Was I feel because of those losses, that's kind of hurts, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I could have won 2 Heismans back-to-back if I win those 2 games. So, but at the end of the day, man, it's a part of God's plan, and I don't question that. It put a little more fire on me, another chip on my shoulder. So I'm excited to go to the league and do better things than that, because that wasn't God's plan. So let's see what the league got for me now.
I like him a lot. I think he's lying. I do think, though, that he made $2.5 million last year playing quarterback at Ohio State, so it allows you to have a conversation, right? All of a sudden, I mean, if you think about Peyton Manning played his senior year in Tennessee. He could have left after his junior year. He would have been the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, he could have then, not that they needed the money, but he could have made $3-4 million playing quarterback at Tennessee if that was real time now. And I do think it allows for guys to, if you look at who's going to be picking at the top of the draft, you can say, hey, especially at quarterback, I can come back here, make a couple $1 million, $3-4 million, and get maybe roll the dice and see what I get next year.
Yeah, and
Big game
enjoy.
changer.
Listen, I mean, Leinart did it just because he
Yeah.
was loving his life and still went in the first round. But now the fact that you can get paid, huge game changer. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, the salary cap goes up every year. The slots for the draft picks go up every year. So waiting a year, like, yes, you're stopping. It is costing you money,
Yeah,
but you're still going to be
you're so rich.
if you're making $4 million and the king of the castle in college.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty great thing for a 22-year-old human to enjoy.
None of the pressures of the pro life, none of the job. I mean, it's a job here.
Right.
Down there, it's not, I mean, it's a lot, but it's not a job. And now you can get rich and have a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, CJ Stroud was driving an Aston Martin this year. Can you imagine
Yeah.
that? Like just
No, I can't.
out and doing it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, second hour of the program coming up next. We will kick things off with a conversation with Chris Rose. It's great. Absolutely great. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. We hit the mailbag coming up at the bottom of the next hour. Still time to get those questions into Gibbe at Browns_Daily. Use the hashtag AskCBD. Second hour up next. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Bally Bet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Bo, the great Z, and of course, now joined by Chris Rose, great friend of the program and great friend of the Hoff. What was that like for when? I mean, we all knew, right?
Yes.
But like, still, official's a big deal.
Awesome. I was driving home. I had I forget where I was because I hadn't gone to the Super Bowl yet, and I was in my car and I had gotten it on my phone. I was like, God, it better work. And sure enough, it comes up, and I'm like celebrating in my car on an LA freeway where you're moving about 8 miles an hour, and I was just so excited for him. And it's going to be so much fun this summer. I was just telling Z that I've got something booked already, but I put it in their brain. I was like, listen, that Saturday, even if Joe has to rent a private jet to get me there, Joe, I saw your career earnings on ProFootballReference.com.
Doing just fine.
Yeah, I'll buy you dinner when we're doing a game in August. We'll call it even.
We'll call it even. And for you to get to know him, get to work with him.
Yeah.
By the way, play-by-play voice, obviously, of the Browns preseason on television with the Hoff. How fun was that for you this year, just going
great.
through that and then getting to know him and then seeing this kind of all come together within 1 year?
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, listen, I've had the good fortune of knowing him for several years since he hung him up at, being with us over at NFL Network, and he is as organized as anybody. It was amazing last year. We did our first game in Jacksonville before coming home for the Eagles week. And in Jacksonville, he was sitting there writing all these things down during the game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Are you completing a graduate degree up in Madison that I'm not aware of, and something popped in your brain? He's like, no, I like writing stuff down so that I just, it comes back to me easier and all that sort of stuff. I was like, you are incredibly prepared.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's
the way he's lived his whole life.
It's unreal. It really is. I mean, it's no shock that the guy's gone from like 310 to 246, chiseled. And then he sends out on social media all those workout plans.
Oh, yeah.
I know he's got.
I do.
I know.
I've been doing them for over a year.
I know, and you look great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Hoff is nuts. But he could give you a breakdown on coffee. He's
whiskey,
whatever
wine,
he's
coffee,
into,
hunting, beef.
He knows it all. That's right.
He's
Hoff
on it.
beef. How about that? He's got Hoff beef now.
We're taking our youngest son on a college tour, and we're going to start in Madison at the end of the month. And so we're hopeful that our paths will be able to cross. And
that'd be great.
I mean, how great would it be to have him walking around campus with Joe Thomas?
Pretty good.
Did you see the clip of him being honored at
I sure
the
did.
basketball game?
I showed it to Brady, our son. I was like, this is how popular he
Yeah,
is.
awesome. And I told him afterwards, I'm a big Curb Your Enthusiasm fan. You can't have a BS bow. No, is that one episode? And when he was out there and he was giving, I said, tremendous bow. The bow was great. To
Really
the crowd.
was
yeah,
dialed in.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was all you wanted. Yeah.
Do you think Canton is ready for this? Like Browns Nation invading Canton? It's been since '99.
I know. I remember where I was. I was actually in Los Angeles, interviewing to go out there. I was working at CNN Sports Illustrated at the time, and I was interviewing with Fox Sports Network for a job. So I was at dinner with my in-laws at some place, and I was like watching the TV. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "My Browns are back."
Right.
They're like, and they're not like huge sports fans. They have become sports fans over the last several decades because their oldest daughter has been married to a nut, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't quite get it. They're like, well, where have they been? And I was
Gone.
like, oh my God, this is going to take a
much
lot
time?
longer.
Baltimore.
This is going to take a lot longer than dinner to explain. But it was so awesome. I remember Tim Couch made a great touchdown throw, and I was like, we've arrived.
Yes.
Like, we got the pick. We nailed it. All right, not quite.
That was back when starters would play in the Hall of Fame game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was a fun one. I actually worked one of the Hall of Fame games. When I was a ball boy for the Browns. I want to say it was in the 1990 season, and it was the year that there were a bunch of Steelers that went in. I think maybe it's possible Lambert went in that year. It was interesting.
I bet this will be a lot more fun with our guy going in there.
Yeah, it should be good between Browns fans and Jets fans. Look out!
We got to get the. I mean, where's the Hoff on the party?
Oh, we're good.
He's locked in. We're locked in.
The tip from a couple of years ago
is paying off.
So
okay.
he's
we
running
gave him
back.
leads on
so
this.
I went through one of my fraternity brothers was in town. Was good friends with Edrin James a couple of years ago, and so he said, "Hey, I have a +1 to
that's probably
Hall of Fame
probably
and the
a
party.
Good party to go to."
I'm like, I'm in. great. So they were sitting with his family, and also we had the party. They were at Gervasi, and I told the Hoff right after that, I said, when the time comes, just call up and be like, I want the Edgerrin James treatment. I said, you'll put a Wisconsin twist on it.
Yep.
It was a very Miami twist. I said, but just say, I want that, the whole setup, the cigar room, everything. And he apparently took note of that, and so
Nice.
that's
Smart man.
That's on the docket.
I like it.
So, out of curiosity, what does he? And I texted him this the other day. I said, "What are you going to owe all of the veterans who have to report to camp a week early now?"
Great point out of you.
Batonio's
not pleased.
Batonio's pissed.
Oh,
not
of
pleased.
course he is.
Joe's
He
not
might not
pleased.
even show up for
Yeah.
the ceremony.
No.
He's going to use that as a day
Yeah,
off.
Right. I'll tell you what, he feels badly about it. There's no doubt, because he's already gotten, and some of his congratulatory texts from current Browns there were also, thanks a lot.
Oh my God,
Team
this
player.
is great.
Yeah, team
This-
player. It's all about you.
How funny is it? How funny is it that we finally get to celebrate? Really, I mean, I'm way older than you guys, and
That's
am
not true.
originally from
Not
Cleveland.
way. Yeah.
This is my second Browns Hall of Famer. I mean, there have been other ones that have made it, but I'm talking about true Ozzie and Joe.
Yeah,
That's
That
it.
perspective
That's
is
it.
pretty wild
That is
when you
it.
think about it.
that's
that way.
it.
And oh my God, he's got to explain to all the guys. Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
I'm the reason you're here a few days early.
I am told, though, this is a pay attention to the scores, I am told that the Browns are cognizant of that beef, and I believe our June portion will end earlier
Got it.
so that they still get the same. They're not going to lose a week of summer break. I
Okay.
think they'll be. So
How does that affect us? Does that affect us the same
I think
way?
yeah.
You guys just
Just to
you
make
work
sure,
like
yeah.
dogs regardless.
Yeah.
Get
That's
back
right.
to
All
work.
year round.
Don't
Never
take
stops.
any.
Never stops.
Believe me, I know. I
Never
tune in.
stops, man.
Doing
I
these,
know.
we've got interviews all the time, which just never stops. That's
Kid, he's
right.
yelling at us
Off-season,
every
he's
2 minutes.
It's good.
Jeez, we're under his
It's
yoke.
unbelievable.
That's good.
I know.
Incredible tight yoke.
It is.
When you think of, we're here at the Combine, and this, business of the league is on. There's all this stuff. It's all this exciting stuff that's happening. There's another guy. Look at this guy.
Another legend.
Siciliano.
Look at that.
Siciliano.
Look at
Siciliano.
Look at the sock game.
Great socks.
Yeah,
that
he's got it
sock game.
going.
He's got it
Bravo.
going.
Now, when
Fantastic
he
sock
comes on, is he able to put these over his ears
Oh.
or not? What?
I feel like
stop.
I want him sitting right here. I know. I want him sitting here. That's good material that shouldn't go without him.
Yeah.
He
No,
should
but if
be-
he
should
sits
feel
here,
it.
you actually have to put him right here.
Right on the left. Yeah, right on the left. Get him
Yeah,
up. So
exactly.
he's on the camera shot.
I have to
Yeah,
bring
no
my car
doubt.
seat every time I take him somewhere.
When do you remember when he and Joe did Mini Me?
Yes.
Oh, that was
Hilarious.
unbelievable.
That was one of the
That
best.
was really
It was a
an
great skit.
all-timer.
I
Great
miss.
skit.
I'm just going to come out and say it. Look, I get the business of why it's on Amazon and all of that. That Thursday night show
Yeah.
with the Hoff and Irv and Steve Smith and Colleen Wolfe, to me was peak.
great.
That was my favorite NFL show.
It was good. It was really, really good. There's no question about it. And now all we get to see is Tony Gonzalez shivering every
Yes.
week. Has there ever been a colder human being?
It's always cold.
I don't
played in
understand
Kansas
it.
City.
Yeah,
I almost
no.
want to break out when I'm watching it. I almost want to break out a blanket from my extra room and just put it on the TV. It looks
You just
so
need to have a
cold.
space heater for him, like a dedicated
Right.
Gonzalez heater.
Maybe
Dress
it's
appropriately.
Yeah,
just
well,
a great
it's also
skit.
that.
they
You gotta
got
get
going,
that.
right?
You gotta get that.
It is a good skip.
Do you sense? We had Andrew Berry here. Kevin will talk, and it does feel like there's a sense of urgency here. Like the guys are in the prime. We're paying a lot of players. Like,
Yes.
It feels like this offseason they've got some big boxes that need checked, and it's like they've got to be checked.
I don't know what happened last year. I have to be honest with you, because when we were doing the preseason games, and I think we all felt the same way, we felt like, okay, so Deshaun's going to have this suspension. If we can go 6-5, that's totally okay.
That's right.
We talked about
That's
the numbers. And when you look at the way Jacoby Brissett played in those 11 games, if you had just done cut-ups of his portion of the
Vastly
games,
exceeded expectations.
you would have gone, man, the Browns
7-4.
might be 7-4
Yeah.
without watching any other part of the game. And the defense was an unmitigated disaster. And I don't know what transpired there. We all looked at each other and I said, this is the fastest defense I've ever watched in brown and orange, ever.
Yep.
And I had no problem saying it. I wasn't saying it just because I was calling the Browns preseason games. I felt it in my bones.
Sometimes they were fast in the wrong direction.
Yes, that's very possible. That happened a lot. And, yeah, there's a lot of butts on the line. And they know it. This
No doubt.
isn't
Yeah.
nobody's
It's year
speaking out of
4.
turn.
This is the long stay.
Hey, man, when
year 4.
When you pay contracts to talented players in
You
this
gotta win.
sport, they have to reach that level. And Myles Garrett, unfortunately, is the only one who has hit that, right? I mean,
Chubb.
And Chubb.
Yeah.
And Chubb. But even Chubb, it's the numbers aren't so astronomical where if for some reason he played below Chubb standards, which he just never come close to, you can live with it. But there's some other guys that you paid a lot of money to, and it hasn't worked out. And
well, the truth is, it's all about the quarterback, right? Because you could say, Muzzin, I throw Joel Bitonio in there. He's as good as you can be at his position consistently, but the position that affects the outcome more than any other is the quarterback. And this will be our first season, and he's only 27, but Miles is in his prime, Joel Bitonio's in his prime, Chubb's in his prime, Denzel's in his prime. They're all on their second contract. Like, we've got the winning needs to happen now. Like, this is it. It's playoffs this year, but it's not just playoffs. It's let's get in the playoffs and be a team of consequence. I mean, I feel like that's what you got to be.
But didn't you feel that way even when we were in the muck last year? You were like, if they can somehow get in.
Chris, were we naive?
Of course.
Were we all a little naive on 700 days and 11 games, like thinking that he would flip?
Retrospectively, yes.
No doubt.
Yes, absolutely we were. And we all were rooting for the best, and we didn't expect the worst. And what we got was the worst. It was not good. It was 6 games where I imagine if you were to ask Deshaun and Kevin Stefanski, he didn't look anything like the player that he was in Houston.
You got
nothing.
Glimpses of it. You got
singular
really plays
you got
in
like
each game.
one half against
Washington.
But very, very few drives where you were like, okay, good. You feel better about it. And it doesn't mean it can't happen. It just means that it has to happen.
Yeah, I talked with Chris Sims about this, and he said that anybody who thought that he was going to be able to come back and kind of look like himself, we were all just fooling ourselves. He said it's 700 days to play, and he goes, practice, it doesn't matter. Practice in no way, shape, or form prepares you for actual NFL football, and I thought we saw that. I did think he trended better as it went on, which is good. Now you have the full offseason. But this season is about, yes, of course, we need to shore up the defensive line. I'd love to add a speed receiver, right, to open things up. Now we need a free safety. But this season is going to be ultimately defined by Deshaun and how he plays, because if he plays well, we will do all the things we want to do. If he does not, we won't.
Right? It's that simple. That's where the discussion
starts.
We'll
see you in September. The next level is next.
But I will say this very quickly before we wrap up here. I know you got to go. If you are watching the Combine, you're thinking to yourself, well, why should I watch as a Browns fan? We don't have a first-round pick. Listen, go watch what the Kansas City Chiefs did last year.
Yep.
Particularly on defense. Yes, they did have 2 first-round picks that helped them, but they got guys. They had 2 seventh-rounders. One is a running back and one is a starting corner.
Yep.
That helped them immensely. They got a 5th-rounder, I think, in Joshua Williams that played a lot in the secondary. Brian Cook, the kid out of Cincinnati. They had kids all over the place that were not first-round picks.
No.
And outside of Patrick Mahomes, those were the biggest reasons why they won the Super Bowl. And
no doubt.
So, you have to keep that in mind. So if you're a Browns fan and you're trying to look for a defensive tackle in the middle of the 2nd round or the end of the 3rd round, they're there.
Yeah, it's a good edge class, too, which we need.
The edge class is great. Daniel Jeremiah, who's unbelievable with this stuff. I always have a half-hour call, just the 2 of us. I was like, DJ, this is my cramming session. Please help me. So he goes tight ends, corner, edge, running backs.
Running back, yep.
He's like, it's really good and really deep. I was like, can I find a receiver? He goes, not as much in recent years.
Yeah.
But he said if you guys grab one in the 4th,
there are guys that have that vertical speed we're looking for, but he said they're kind of one-trick ponies. I said, well, can they catch?
Can they catch?
That's
what I'd like to know.
Because we've already run that game.
Well, we catch, unfortunately. He struggled with that.
I know. He struggled with a lot, and I felt terribly for him.
He tried.
He fought it like
fought hard.
Yeah,
no doubt. No doubt.
Chris, awesome.
Yes.
Guys, thanks for having me.
What a treat.
I appreciate it. We'll see you at some point during the summer.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably camp will start sometime around June 28th, so maybe we'll see you then.
And maybe we'll see you out and about in
Don't be one of these
Vegas
crusty
tonight.
veterans that's complaining about that stuff. For goodness
He's already.
sakes.
He makes his declarative statements years in advance.
I'm out.
I'm done.
Jump out years in advance. Give plenty of warning.
Has he already put in for vacation for the first week of camp?
He's already out on the combine next year. He's like, forget
all
this
these
camp.
things.
All
these
it.
little. I just got to give you a big head start.
Did you guys all drive in the same car?
We did not. We should have. With separate cars.
Separate cars? What are you guys from L.A.? What is going on?
It's like
With
what'd you guys
swingers.
do?
Well, he left
Remember
early
swingers?
during the day so that he could drive during the show, so he didn't have to do anything. I left when the show ended from the studio, and Bo left after the show ended from his home. So Bo and I were going through the winds and the rain together. Though we'd be like, "Oh, dude, look out!" And then 20 minutes later, a wind shear would go right.
How
through
long's
the
that
crowd.
drive from there to here?
It's a good
75
4.5, 5.
hours, something like that.
Yeah. Well, once you hit, it flies really until you get to the Indiana border, and then that stretch from Indiana to here is the worst. 2 lanes on 70, trucks going 12 miles an hour in the left lane. Don't care that you're behind them. In fact, I think they enjoy it.
Indiana's
Potholes,
idea, I think, is
the disgrace.
let's go from the only thoroughfare from our major city to any other major city in the Midwest. I think 2 lanes is all we need.
2 lanes. And let's
Crap.
have
Let's
a
just leave it
beltway
there.
an
This is a
hour
bad
and a half
sign.
from downtown.
In less than 4 weeks, I'm taking a drive from Madison to Bloomington. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I'm not envious.
Buckle in.
I'm
I
not
mean, that's
envious.
Chicago. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not going to be.
God almighty.
Yeah.
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 You
But
gonna
we're here
stop
now.
in-
We're going to make the most of it.
What, South Bend? You going to do West Lafayette? On the
No,
college
we're
trip?
not stopping.
Straight through.
We're going right from Joe Thomas showing us around campus to
Bloomington.
Van Waiters showing us around Bloomington, Indiana.
Van Waiters.
That's
Let's
what a
go.
great
Great drop right there.
Sorry, that's all I got.
There's no
guys.
way to top that.
My buddy,
Sorry,
the kid,
boys.
when we remember Deion Waiters was on the Cav,
Yeah.
the kid, one of his gimmicks, is one of my buddies from Cleveland. He likes to call them just not their actual name. So Deion Waiters was always, Van Waiters with another heater tonight.
Chris, thanks, man.
All right, guys.
What
Bye.
a treat.
So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Let's get a little help getting back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns from Heavy.com. J.R. DeGroot with this. The Browns, you said it, I said it. Browns linked to a pair of Eagles Pro Bowlers ahead of free agency. So among the topics, now I don't know what validity to give this.
I don't either.
I can't tell if you're on or not.
Me neither.
I don't think you are.
Hello?
Now you're on.
Okay.
I couldn't tell.
Me neither.
Right, really on the edge.
It's tough.
It's
Well,
really
I
on the edge.
project, booming.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Again, if we had lights, helpful.
Very. Well, when they redo the studio in here, Gibbe, put it on your list when you redo it.
Sure. Right up there.
What
I
are
gotta
your
figure out where
blueprints
we're going to
looking like?
broadcast from.
Do you have
Let's
your
figure that out first.
Have they approved your plans and your blueprints for this studio space?
I'm working with Yellowstone on that.
I'd go so far as to say that should be the number one thing, that we have mics that are affixed to the thing on the arms that move, and it is connected
We used to
an
have
on,
them,
off.
and then
Yeah, I mean they need
new
to
people
hang.
come in, and all of a sudden we don't.
They need to hang, and they need to be here.
Yep.
And then you need to have a simple
cough.
on-off cough button.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then it needs to illuminate when you're on, like somewhere where everybody can see.
Right.
Yeah. And then ideally, a way for us all to see you.
Yeah.
Would be
Novel concept.
A nice issue.
Yeah,
Like, I don't need to
I
see
feel
this.
like today maybe I should come in there and do the mailbag instead of
Come
sitting
on
back
in.
here.
Yes,
Yeah, you
dude,
should.
please.
That way we can all see
I think
each
you
other.
now that you've got Connor back there, you should come out here all the time. You should just sit out here.
Flourish.
Why don't you just sit in that chair at all times?
over
He's doing
there.
work. He's got work going on over there.
I literally was cutting up pressers and
He's got
other
other
things,
work
but you
to
couldn't
do.
see me.
But you couldn't
Well,
see.
no,
I
I
could.
know. That's what I mean.
could.
I'm
I could
just
see.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Logistically.
All right,
I
so
mean,
it's Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox who they linked to us from an. Look at these guys. Graham's 35. That's unbelievable. Cox is 32. I wouldn't be opposed to one of these guys. To me, that would get really old really fast. But I do think that I'm open to everything on the defensive
Listen,
line.
Graham still had 11 sacks last year, so the question would be, could he be a situational pass rusher? Does he give you time for whether it's your second-round pick or Alex Wright or all those people to get, ready to be the starter opposite Myles Garrett? That's fine. Fletcher Cox, absolutely stud, 7 sacks last year. He's a guy that's been, six-time Pro Bowler. He's great. And then the Browns also being rumored to be interested in Javon Hargrave, who's got an incredible nickname, Gravedigger. He's 30. He's a monster, Pro Bowler, 11 sacks in 2022. $20 million a year, though, is the market value. I just don't know that we can play in that air. We need, maybe it's a combination of a Sheldon Rankins, and then you draft kind of a true nose tackle, and there away you go there with, now Elliott and Perrion round out the room. That's all of a sudden a pretty good room. The edge rusher, I think, is obviously very important. I just don't know that you can be a $20 million a year defensive tackle team.
You can't be.
I wouldn't think.
The math doesn't work. It's currently constructed. The math doesn't
There
work.
have to be a lot of changes that are made in terms of various restructures that get you to a position where you could do something like that.
I could see some of these older dudes mixed in with some drafting young guys.
That's been our
That's
MO.
been the MO. But we don't have time to wait on stuff.
No, we also have
need
to be
proven.
We need players.
We need guys. Yeah, absolutely need guys.
Yeah, I think that, you would ultimately look back and say of our top, let's call it our top 6 assets on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Top 7 assets.
Yep.
Top 7 assets on this team, I think we could all agree, are Deshaun, Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, Denzel. I'm just saying Amari.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of assets around the league, probably, yeah, like Denzel's probably ahead of Chubb just from a position of importance.
Just call the top 7.
But in terms of, right.
Nick Chubb, Denzel, Amari, Batonio, and Teller. Fair?
Yeah, the guard thing is.
And we have 2 of them are guards and 1 is a running back.
Yeah.
And that's with spent money. I'm not talking about, like, Greg would probably be considered around the league a very valuable asset on his rookie deal
Right,
as a very
'cause of the
competent
price of it
corner.
all, yeah.
But those are, in terms of people that we have spent money on, those are our top 7. And 2 of them are guards and 1 is a running back.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it gets a little tricky when it comes to making all this stuff happen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll hit the mailbag on a Friday coming up next. Hey, Bobby!
Hey, Bobby!
Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. Join the Browns season ticket member waitlist today for your best chance of securing tickets for all home games in future seasons. Don't miss out. Go to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to reserve your spot today. Time for the Browns Mailbag, presented by Vivid Seats, official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Hello, Gibby.
Hi. Better in here?
Yeah.
Better?
Oh,
I love you in the presence. We love your presence.
Yeah, I like you being near me.
By the way, yesterday, did you see the Daniel Jeremiah just leg drop on the entire cornerback class coming out?
No.
No, he didn't like
Daniel
it.
Jeremiah. Looking over my CB notes for today, they all have one thing in common. They got beat by Marvin Harrison Jr.
So I was talking to Mike Renner this morning,
Yes.
and he said that if Marvin Harrison
listened to that.
Jr. was in this draft, he would be the second most talented player behind Will Anderson in the draft. He said he could do Jamar Chase and go 4th overall next year.
And do that. Yeah.
And I pointed out that as a Notre Dame alumnus, it's possible he's just trying to sway Marvin to not play against Notre Dame next year.
Interesting.
This guy's not going to play for Ohio State next year, and I'm just going to be distraught.
He is going to play for Ohio State. Yeah. His dad was in Columbus last week. They're locked in. He's playing.
We sure,
Yeah.
This is Bo Bishop you're talking to.
Yeah.
I know,
I'm in.
but
You're safe, pal. You're safe, S. Poor S is weaving. The kids celebrating. No, nothing. Harrison's playing.
By the way, I was sad you didn't answer my call. I'm going to call you when we leave here today. I got a great riddle for you, courtesy of S, but it has to be done on a phone.
So I told you that I had meetings. So,
Yeah.
when you called, I was in one of those.
Yeah.
You know what else?
I thought you might call back. There was good content that you enjoyed.
I never know where you are or where I am. Who knows?
I was driving
But anyway,
for 5 hours.
I do remember getting that, and I was in the meeting, and I silenced it. And then you texted me, now that I remember, but I didn't have a chance to look at it, what you texted me.
You haven't watched it yet?
No.
Oh, wow.
Should I watch it now?
Yeah, you should. Well, maybe not now. Probably not now.
I was going to
Later.
say, is there audio?
No. Later, Bo. Phone away. We're focused. We're men. By the way, comment. This was, I don't know if you guys saw this. This is great negotiating, by the way, by Giants GM Joe Schoen.
God.
When asked if he would consider drafting a quarterback in this class, I don't know how I just saw this or just heard about this, and I don't know how it didn't make it into the notes. You know what I'm about to say based on your reaction, or maybe that's the video. Quote, "You never let a girlfriend stop you from finding a wife," is what he said. The Giants GM said when asked about if he would consider drafting a quarterback in this class. He said, "You never let a girlfriend stop you from finding a wife."
Valid. A lot of people, Renner was saying that too. He said if I was the Bears, I'd take Bryce Young #1 and I'd deal with Fields.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but I'm just saying
Guy
that's people are saying.
and maybe he ends up being great, but Chicago doesn't feel like the right
No.
place for his size.
No, and I think that's something that,
This isn't
if
Madden.
this dude played at 170 pounds last year,
Yeah.
jeez.
How did he survive? I'm kind of amazed that he survived. He did miss some time, right? But
He
wasn't
did.
it a non?
He missed several games in the middle of last season.
Was it contact related or non-contact
I
related?
can't remember.
By the way, we got to shout out John Schertzer.
All right.
Who's John Schertzer? And I'm sure I butchered your name, John. John was 2 rows in front of us, Butler
Oh,
Marquette
yeah.
the other night.
Yeah,
That's
right.
great.
Yeah,
Randomly
Victor
turns
was great.
around to us and goes,
Hey,
"What's up, Bo Nathan Gibbs? Big fan." What?
fantastic. Didn't
Yeah.
think you'd see that
Love
at
it.
Took
Hinkle.
a picture, posted on
Yeah,
social.
It was very nice. Very nice.
Shout out, my friend.
World team.
You can tweet at the show at Browns_daily using
Oh.
the hashtag
Breaking news,
AskCBD. Come on!
Breaking news, real quick. From 1 minute ago on the Pat McAfee show, courtesy of
Oh, no.
the loquacious AJ Hawk.
Yeah, good word.
Quote, "I've said it 1,000,000 times. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will retire."
There you go. So he's going to play in Green Bay.
The Jets,
I don't think Green Bay wants that to
The
happen.
Jets are covetous of Aaron Rodgers.
I'm sure they are, but
Not Rich Eisen, though.
no.
He doesn't want to deal with the Michigas. All right, Gibby.
All right, you ready now?
Yep.
All right, and away we go. Browns backers, North Jersey. How many questions need to be asked per week to be in the Meshling level?
76.
It's insane that you
short.
said that. I was going to say 75. Like, that is outrageous that we were within one of what we were.
Love it.
I
love it.
Two hearts.
Can we get, this is from Love a Dog today. Can we get any intel or assessment of later round Buckeye prospects from Bishop and BG? BG's got a kid that really played well at the Senior Bowl. Somehow didn't get an invite to the Combine. I have no idea why. Buckeyes?
Let me pull up the list
day
and see.
one.
I mean, you spent so much time at the top of the board. Let me see some down list guys.
That's fine. Well, both
as predicted, I knew that Harrison would test off the charts. I don't think he'll work his way into the second, but I think he's a really nice low. He's got a really high floor. Let me see down here. You know, Ronnie Hickman could be an interesting safety player. I'm blanking on the kid's name, but there was a kid that went undrafted at Ohio State, and then, or maybe it was like a 6th-round pick, and then ended up starting for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl. Ronnie kind of dealt with some injuries and stuff. He would be an interesting one. Rams depth chart. I'm pretty sure he's still there. I can't believe I'm blanking on this. But
it's all right.
Williams?
Backers, North Jersey.
Yeah.
While Bo looks that up. How much of 7th grade math have you actually used in your daily life?
0.
Jordan Fuller.
Jordan Fuller.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of stats, but it's all base. Like, I don't know what was I doing in 7th grade.
The stuff
Parabolas and all that.
Yeah,
that we're doing that. None of
the
that.
stuff your kids are doing in 5th is what it is.
Hey,
No, it's nonsense. I'm watching them do this nonsense.
Stupid
new
Common
math
Core
is-
garbage.
The
math
new
is
maths couldn't
dumb.
suck anymore. I think it's useless. Every time, like it's this big stress about, do you understand what's happening here? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's all nonsense. You got a calculator on your phone.
I wish sometimes that we were doing a pod like Pardon My Take, because one of the things that I got a kick out of while listening to that and laughed out loud multiple times is like if Big Cat didn't like something, he'd just be like F that. So he'd be like F new math, like just so matter of fact. And I thought it was hysterical. It's like right there. I'd love to say it.
Yeah.
This is an important one here. Zach, any advice for a bachelor party in Vegas? And yes, I'm the bachelor.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No cell phones.
None.
That's number 1. You go out, you have a nice meal, you go out and have a nice night on the town, day party, maybe a beach club pool party.
My advice would be, while it is your bachelor party, you maintain control. You have to maintain control, because a slip up at any point could derail all of it, provided you actually really want to get married.
Like, how
so
many
it's just-
people are going? That's the question. Because
I
if
don't
you have a
even
group
know.
of like 20, then it's...
In the break, I'm going to tell you a bachelor party story that's going to blow your guys' mind that really happened. Don't do that.
Yeah. So I think I like your no phones. I think that's
follow-up,
going to be
but
hard
not
to
on this.
administer. The other thing that I think is really cool on a bachelor party is when you have a sober activity. So you're in Vegas. I don't know if you
Something
golf
in
or
the
not,
afternoon.
but go play golf at like 11 the next day. Like play a little golf the next day before you go hit it again. Like it doesn't have to be 72 hours of debauch.
Listen, I had a great time at Disney World.
That's right.
That's right. It's true.
I believe it's
It wasn't
great.
a conversation stopper. It was just a fact.
Browns backers, North Jersey. You still have 73 more questions to go. What's the proper way to say it? Spaghetti and meatballs or meatballs and spaghetti?
The former.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Agreed.
I've never heard it.
I've
the
never
other
heard
way.
meatballs and spaghetti.
Me either.
Yep. Joe Kunerick headed to Louisville, Kentucky for a Bourbon Trail weekend. What is one can't-miss distillery tours/tasting we should have on the itinerary? This is an important one.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone probably goes to Buffalo Trace because of their obvious
Don't you have
affiliations
to? Yeah.
with Pappy. And I mean, they have Pappy, Blanton's, Elmer, Colonel Taylor, Eagle Rare. Like, that's all Buffalo Trace.
Weller?
So I'm sure
Where's
that
Weller?
Weller's there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to go there.
I'm sure that's the one, but I've never been. But my hunch is that it's just overrun with humanity.
This is what I'd like to do.
So maybe you could try to find one that's a little more off. I've heard Old Forester does a nice job, and they're the original.
I mean, Woodford's got to be great.
Woodford's got to be great. Yeah.
I just think we should take this RV down there, and I feel like a man of your consequence in the field would
Yeah.
be able to arrange us a special tour at
I think that's a fact. That there would be a special tour. I don't know that. I've been told, now I have nothing to back this up, but I've been told that like the worst place to buy the only place worse than Ohio to buy rare bourbon is Kentucky.
For sure.
So, yeah, but it's all.
How about this? Let me hit you with something. My buddy, the great Tom Feudy, was down in Augusta for actually sad circumstance. His wife's father passed, R.I.P., and was down there and just in a random liquor store in Augusta bought off the shelf 2 bottles of Pappy.
What was the upcharge? Because Georgia, they can upcharge it.
Not whatever he said was
reasonable.
So reasonable, and he asked if he could buy both, and the guy said yeah, which he was shocked at.
Give me I need to know details. I want to know which vintage, and I want to know what his MSRP was. If he doesn't mind sharing,
he would not.
I'm curious.
Fine, yeah. I'll find that out for you.
Quartz Mountain.
And it was like a hole-in-the-wall liquor store too.
That's it. I've always told people that here. Like I don't want to give you too many secrets, but
exactly.
It's yeah.
If you like Catch Me If You Can, look up the old Johnny Carson clips where the real guy is talking.
This dude was basically the best liar of all time. He was on
did
like
Catch Me If You Can, but
yeah, but he
kind of like
promoted it like he did. So in a way,
he kind of wins. He wins.
He did win. They did a DiCaprio movie on his life, and yeah, he was on Carson. He was on like there was a dating game where you would talk to somebody behind a door, and he was one of the guys on that. I mean, like, he did all these things. He just didn't do anything he said he did.
Maybe that's the life he wanted to lead.
That's the way I read it. Yeah.
I don't know if we're ready for this. Would you take a speedster wide receiver like Downs or Flowers at 42 or one of the elite edge guys and hope to scoop up a wide receiver at 98 or 111?
I'm not there yet.
I don't think we're there yet.
I'm not there yet.
Are you there yet?
I just think the other thing that's really hard.
I want to see what free agency is first.
Yeah, and I also think the other thing that's hard is when you're picking 42nd, you can't just throw names out there because you get 41 ahead of you.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to know.
Tough.
This is a good one from Browns backers, North Jersey. We've been getting better. Will Michael J. Fox be more associated with Marty McFly or Alex P. Keaton?
McFly by 1,000 miles. Yeah. I don't know anybody under the age of 40 who even knows who Alex P. Keaton is.
Yeah, he's ever heard of Family Ties.
We had a couple moments
Back
this
to the
week
Future still ends up on... You still come across it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
McFly.
my kids loved it. I watched the oldest, and I watched Back to the Future.
It's sad. Really should be Teen Wolf should be the answer, but we'll go with it.
Bobby time.
How about that?
Unbelievable.
That got greenlit.
Hey, I got a great idea.
Sit down.
He's going to turn into a wolf. And he's going to actually become a great athlete and be great at basketball, and we're going to win.
No one's going to question it.
No, and everybody's
CNN's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if some kid turned out to be a wolf at, like, Olmsted Falls? And we're like,
and
hey, Gibby comes in. He's like, hey, guys, we got this wolf kid,
There was
man.
no media
Kid's averaging
circus.
37 points a game. No one's seen him play.
Yeah,
no one can guard him.
And his teammate is going to be the punk from Pee Wee Herman's Big
Adventure. The worst basketball playing in the history of Hollywood is in that film.
No doubt.
The worst.
No doubt.
How about Mick? He's hitting the last free throws when he's non-wolf at the end, and the guy just stands underneath the rim on the technicals like this. What?
You need to get back behind.
What are we doing?
Or at least the 3-point line now.
Awful.
Just in general, people shouldn't be on the field when big moments are happening.
That movie is. There were so many stunning movies from that era. I just think people went into like an opium den and they came out and they were like, boom, boom, boom. They're like, sure, we'll make it.
I just think it's kind of like Roadhouse. Like, this is absurd. Who's in it? Swayze? Boom, go, print it.
So, I was watching a clip and I apologize. I was 99% sure it was Roadhouse, and maybe I'm wrong, but 99% sure I feel like it had to be. Terry Funk was in Roadhouse?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it was a scene with the Funker, and he comes in and he basically says something that he had heard about his anatomy and how tough he was. And basically was like, you don't look like nothing to me. And I was like, Terry Funk was great.
He's unbelievable in it.
Why was he not in more movies?
He's one of the goons.
He should have been in.
He works for Brad Wesley.
He should have been.
Have you not seen Roadhouse?
Not in a long time.
I was gonna say.
Not in a long time.
Great. It's a joy.
Every time it's on, I stop.
It's joy.
The whole world stops.
This is but like, how did the Funk not end up in every movie that had to do with that type? Like, why is the Funk Man? I mean, he's probably too old now, but like, he should be in Yellowstone.
I think he
should have been in everything that had to do with Southern whatever. He should have been on the Four Sixes Ranch. Yeah. Like, give me the. His
great.
Delivery was so good of that line.
Yeah.
And he knew he meant it.
My hunch is he got market corrected by the body in Predator. The body took those roles. And that's my.
Yeah, but he has the southernness.
I understand,
to him,
but like you're only going to have one wrestler in a movie. the body's got the more charisma.
Well, the body was.
He was unbelievable.
Whoa, McMahon.
So good.
God love the body.
All right, rapid fire,
That was
Bobby
the governor
style.
of Minnesota.
That's right.
How many pairs of shoes do you own?
I don't know.
Me?
Bobby
A good amount.
asking.
A good amount.
Good amount.
More than I probably should.
Yeah.
What book or series did you wish you could live in?
Book or series?
I'm assuming like a TV series.
Series was a TV series.
I would think.
I mean, I just finished watching Mad Men. Feels like a great time.
If we were,
If
we
I was
were
in
them,
those,
if
in
we
that
were
world,
Roger Draper.
Yeah, if you're Roger Drapes and you're living that.
I think you and I would be
pretty
a
good
great Roger Drapes.
Who gets hurt?
A
Well,
lot
but
of
I mean,
people.
Yeah, I think we don't.
A lot of hearts.
Yeah, a lot of hearts. Yeah.
Not ours.
I
Yeah,
don't.
that's
I
a
don't,
great answer.
That's it.
I wouldn't have minded, but then you think about what the actual like septic system was like and things like that. But like if you and I were combined into Al Swearingen, like I feel like we would have had a great time.
Yeah, but boy,
Tough life.
all of a sudden you get a kidney stone and look what happens to you. So
You're right. Tough. Tough
it's
conditions.
a tough go of it. Like you got to stay. A lot of dysentery.
I would have had fun if I was just dropped into the world. If like me and you all of a sudden, the three of us were like the posse and entourage. That feels like that would have been a fun.
Yeah,
time.
but I hate that movie or that show. But yes, I mean that's good.
But it would have been us and not
losers,
unlikable people.
Unlikable people who are terrible
He's
actors.
the worst. He's one of the most least likable characters in the history
They
of
built
programs.
a show around a guy who's the biggest star in Hollywood who cannot act.
Well, yeah, but that's why everything bombed that he was in, actually.
No, but I mean, like, we were supposed to believe that he had charisma. The actor had none.
He had eyes.
That whole thing would have been different. Like, if he was out and they just cast a real guy.
Turtle was great.
He's
and
fine.
Giant
So
Drama
they're
was
fine.
Drama
great.
was
But they're
great.
just
No,
little
Turtle
bits.
was great in his role. Giant Drama was great. Ari was amazing.
They were
the
just
whole
these
Ari
little bits.
operation was
It really
great.
should have
Ari,
been built,
his assistant.
Yeah.
built it around Ari,
Like
and have different casts come in.
So it's TV Arliss. It's Hollywood Arliss.
That's a win.
Arliss would have been a fun show to be into.
Yeah. I'm sticking with Mad Men.
I think you're exactly right.
No. We good?
So much more.
So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Oh, my God. Therapy
does it again.
He does it again. He's got me as Dalton. Gibby, are you Funk?
I think so.
You are.
I
You
think
are
I'm
Funk.
Funk.
Gibby's the funker.
Oh, God. That's great. That is great. Yeah, little Tinker got it right in the belly on that one, too. That's a heck of a jump off. That's right before Miho shows up. Yeah. I always fancied myself as a Brad Wesley type. I like that operation. I'd love to be a crook in a town. That'd be great.
Just own the town.
Yeah.
But we got to give Ned needs a little advice.
Okay,
he has
go,
one
go,
serious
go, go.
question.
1 minute.
Go,
1 minute.
Ned, go.
I'm a man. I'm 40. How do you divvy up chores in your respective households?
I pay people to do it.
Don't. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I actually
I'll
don't.
be back- I'll
I
be
do a lot of
vacuuming
cooking
tomorrow.
and cleaning.
We-
I do the shopping, cooking, and cleaning.
Yeah. That's it. I mean,
I'm
you
more
find the
flexible
things that
than
you like to
this guy.
do.
Yeah. And
I
love
like to
that.
cook. I like to buy groceries.
Same. Love to shop.
Love it.
I love to shop and cook same day.
Yeah.
Like I want to shop for my food that day
Yeah,
and
I
then
can't.
cook it.
I can't do anything like that. But I got to do it once a week. But just from a. But
I
yeah,
can't
so
plan
then you
like
just
that.
find what they
30,
like.
30.
That's the way it works. Have a great weekend, everybody. The next level is coming up next. We're back Monday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.